Hello, everybody. Karl Diffenderfer with Higher Impact.
I'm Dustin Keener with Higher Impact in Durham, North Carolina.
And I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and we're here to talk a little bit today about emotional intelligence. How would you define emotional intelligence?
Yeah, I mean, it's a trendy topic right now, and I think as I've processed it, what I've learned is that everybody has a good reason for what they do. And I think emotional intelligence is being aware of what's happening on the inside that drives our behavior on the outside.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. And to add to that, I think emotional intelligence helps us understand what's going on for other people, and as well ourselves. So instead of us kind of scratching our heads when something's going awry, we can figure out what's actually going on for us. So why would you say emotional intelligence matters?
Well, I think for my own personal life, when I have like negative destructive behaviors, like if I'm getting angry or frustrated, it's not so much like that situation, but maybe some other things that are going on. So what it does is it helps me to process why I'm feeling, when I'm feeling it, what's going on inside. If say one of the major issues that we deal with clients is abandonment and rejection, which can go back to childhood. And so sometimes people can get angry and frustrated, but the underroots tone of that is maybe feeling, rejected or unappreciated or something like that. So,
but we're guys, so we're not supposed to have feelings, right?
well, that's what I guess they want you to believe, right? No, you're not supposed to have feelings. You're just supposed to be this macho dude, have big muscles, drive a big truck,
Oh man, I'm striking out. Holy cow.
Oh man. But I mean, if you look at those guys, as macho as they are, they kind of have a life of destruction and isolation. I mean, there's not too many people that want to hang out with like an egomaniac narcissist,
Well, and to that point, their children don't respect them. They don't have a good relationship with their spouse. They're you can tell that there's that tension there.
Yeah.
I see it a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think too that when we have these wounds, when we're unaware of our emotions or unintelligent about our emotions, we become kind of bottled up. We become not self-absorbed, but maybe, because we have these things that are hurting us and they're paining us, and so we go into this protective mode, which essentially pushes people away. So as we become intelligent about our emotions and what's driving us and driving others, I think then we can walk a little more clear conscious and more in love, as we become healed and figure out what's going on the inside. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does, yeah. And so with that, do you think that it's important for us to take that time to process what's going on for us?
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's key for everybody. Instead of just like anger is a big emotion, instead of just getting angry, and lashing out in that anger, processing, why do I feel this way,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had any experiences or any clients or anything, but...
Yeah, I've had a couple people over the years that I've been able to coach that had zero, I kid you not, zero emotional intelligence. And I remember one of them said to me, it was a guy, and he said, my life is 100% different. I have done a complete turnaround from where I was, he said, because now I can actually understand what's going on for somebody else. And that's the first level. That enables you to care about that person and understand what's going on. It doesn't mean that you have to own what they feel in that moment and take it on yourself as a burden, but you can still take that moment to pause and care for that person through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think too about people that have, maybe they're workaholics or maybe they're alcoholics or, drug addicts or whatever. The workaholic, could be so driven almost in a positive direction, but he almost has this fear of rejection, or he's trying to win his dad's approval because of this, fear of unaccepted or something like that. So, yeah, I feel like to become aware of what's happening on the inside can really help somebody become healed and whole as a person versus, more pocketed as they don't deal with their pain.
So I see guys, though, we create this macho of this wall, and to me, it's a fear-based thing. But it's at the end of the day, all it does is it creates seclusion, discontentedness, a whole lot of different things.
I think I agree with that, and taking that a step further, if you evaluate the relationships you have in your life, the people that you feel the closest and most connected to are the ones that you're probably the most vulnerable with. I think of our relationship, and I have a few other buddies that, we kind of go in the trenches for each other, and I can call you up and process emotions with you and just be raw and real and authentic with you, not trying to hide, not trying to be macho, but just, hey man, this is
shucks, man.
yeah, man, this is what I'm dealing with. Yeah.
No, but I don't know if you noticed that right there when I made a joke about him being sincere. That was me actually, and I did it on purpose, by the way, but it was me actually making that feel okay in the moment. I was creating a boundary by pushing back and making a joke out of something he was being sincere about. So I actually was not accepting his emotion in that moment. I was not accepting his words of encouragement, and so at the end of the day, it didn't do either of us any good. I wasn't able to accept it, and he wasn't able to say it. And so that's kind of actually an example of how we can use our macho to keep ourselves from actually experiencing the true realness of life.
Yeah, and I would that makes me think of validating feelings. If we have these feelings, somebody does something and we have a feeling and nobody can take that away from us. Like, how we feel is what's going on the inside of us. What happens is, if we're not emotionally aware and we don't know how to communicate that emotion, and people don't validate that feeling, then we just suppress it.
Well, first we have to understand it.
Right.
I guess. Or should I just not understand my feelings?
Well, no, you should understand them, and yeah, that's part of what we're talking about, being aware of. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, so how does somebody learn emotional intelligence?
I think there's a couple different steps somebody could do. One would be to find somebody that you're comfortable with to just be raw and vulnerable.
That sounds scary, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just somebody that can help you process what's going on. Do you have any other steps?
I think to take a moment. I had a sheet of emotions that I would look at and just pick the emotion that I felt in that moment in that day. It was a huge list, and actually, if we can help you at all, if you want to reach out to me via email, I can share that same list to you that I used. And I'll tell you what it did, though, was it enabled me to, in that moment, accept and identify the moment, the feeling that I felt in that moment. And then from that, I was able to quickly identify where I was at, or more quickly each day. Instead of it being like a 48-hour window for me to figure out what I was feeling, I was able to, in real time, figure out what I was feeling. And then from that, I was able to help others process through what was going on in their lives.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, too. As we become more healed and whole, and we're not operating out of a fear of people seeing the real us. We can take down the facade. We can operate in the fullness of who we are. We can then act in love towards other people that are hurting and help them process their emotions. But a lot of that, we have to take care of us first,
Yeah.
I remember, flying in an airplane, they always say, take care of your own oxygen mask before you help a child. And that's kind of what has to happen whenever we're dealing with emotional intelligence is, if you're unaware and unintelligent about your own emotions, it's hard to help somebody else. But
yeah, you can't help others if you're broken yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Well, we thank all of you for checking in with us today, talking about emotional intelligence. Dustin and I here checking out. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.